down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome everybody to
On the Chain Live.
The microphone's all wonky here, Jeff. So we got a lot to talk about. So something dropped today, and it was the First Amendment to the complaint. We are going to go through it. It's going to be super exciting to kind of go through and dissect some of this stuff. What else we have on?
First Amendment to what complaint, Chip?
Well, to the one that dropped on December 22nd, the SEC v. Ripple complaint. Sorry, I think everyone know that, but yeah, the SEC v. Ripple. SEC dropped another one today, and it's basically an amendment where they cleaned up some language, moved a few things around, and essentially showed how weak their case really is.
That's lawsuit update. Hey, while we're getting ready to do this, why don't you guys shout out where you guys are from? This is awesome. We've got 191 in the stream, 200. We'll get going here and kick it off when there's 200 in the stream. No, Chip,
do it now.
Let's hit it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get it going.
Go.
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
Hey, welcome back. Chip, do you know what time it is in Istanbul?
Istanbul. I don't know what time it is, but I'm going to go with late, Jeff. That's about the best I can come up with, late.
Dude, it's 4 a.m.
Holy cow. Galkin is like with us. I hope we pronounced that right, but man, that is amazing.
I hope he's getting up at 4 a.m. This is the great way to start the morning. You tune into On the Chain. So we got people here from the Philippines, from Australia, from London. Got people in here from all the way from Florida, man, right in our backyard. Ricardo, what is going on
Cooper
right
City.
here in our backyard? We got Sarah Vaughn from India. Look at that. Great place over in India, California, Brazil, man, all sorts of places. Got Tampa, Florida.
Yeah,
And it's great.
Barbarossa.
And it's great to see how many people are coming in from all over the world.
Finland,
And,
yes.
man, we got somebody tuning in from Egypt.
Nowlands. Sorry.
You missed it. Egypt. There we go. Egypt. Right there on the
bucket
Twitter.
list, Jeff.
On the Twitter. Hey, so you know what this all represents? We get everyone to shout themselves out, come into the stream, is that the digital asset space, the crypto space, is a global phenomenon. We got people coming in from all over. And the other part that is significant about this is that people from all over the world, all of these people that are on with us tonight, are passionate about XRP amongst many other of the digital assets. And they want to tune in and find out what in the world is going on with this SEC v Ripple update.
Jeff, I'm also in Palm Beach. So GoldenEye and I are in Palm Beach. We are in Palm Beach. Palm Beach County, as a matter of fact.
David tuned all the way in from Michigan.
David. Yeah, I love when people make me laugh, Jeff. It's fantastic.
Detroit.
So it's funny because James Rule and XRP and I were talking a little bit. We always chat a little bit here and there, but we were talking about just about anything. He's done a really good job of, and again, getting some stuff spinning up over on that beautiful little place that is. I've been trying to build a community over there, but Clubhouse. That's why I say hit me up for an invite. Ping me. I keep getting invites. We're trying to build a community because it's voice only. And what's going to happen is when we get enough people together, we'll be able to start the On the Chain club. You guys will be able to subscribe to it. And unfortunately, right now it's iOS only, but I hear that they're working on Android. Thing is, it's growing so fast, they're going to have to add Android because if they want to add, 70% of the people in the world, they're going to need Android. But, you got to start somewhere. And they're working a lot of bugs. They're adding a lot of new stuff. But I got to tell you, what's going to be great is that we'll be able to get on there. But it won't just be Jeff and I talking. We'll have more dialogue and conversation. We can have 10 or 15 people on a stage and pose questions to the audience. So it's going to be good like that. So, Chip, James loves Clubhouse.
Until it gets to Android, I won't be on it. I want to give a quick shout out to Lisa all the way in from Ireland. So another
That's beautiful.
Of my,
hey, Biff from
places.
Palm Beach. Nice.
It's
Biff. Hello, Biff. Hi, Biff. It's Chip and Biff from Palm Beach. Hello. You gotta do that hoity-toity voice. How the elites talk down here. Biff and Chip are going to, we're going to go to the country club and play a round of golf.
Gonna play some croquet.
Hey, it's Nav. Look at Nav from Toronto. I used to spend a lot of time in Toronto because I grew up across the other side of the lake.
Yeah, we got Ferdy from Amsterdam. Nice.
Oh, Ferdy made it. Yeah, Ferdy, I'm so glad you made it. That's why we're trying to do earlier streams on the weekends. You guys are probably busy, but.
There we go. Hey, so Chip, before we get into the case, I wanted to start off with some of the big losers and big winners of today. I should say big winners, big losers. Man, today,
huge winners, big losers.
Huge winners today. Huge winners, bigger losers. So number one winner of today, I didn't pull it up here. I should have pulled it up first.
Pull it
Ethereum.
up,
man. Ethereum is getting closer and closer to that 2,000 mark. And I think it actually hit 2,000 today. Right now it's sitting at 1928. I think that would classify as a big winner. But an even bigger winner than the Ethereum is BNB. What, man? I still look at this thing, man. I look at the BNB. I remember when it was 13, and now look at we've got the Binance coin here sitting at 205. Dude, what do you make of that? 205.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think 2020 was nuts, but I think people have just gone mad and crazy in 2021. I'm looking at, I like Polkadot. It's very sound, Cardano sound, right? You got XRP in lucky number 7 position. But the whole Binance coin, people like to really go say really fun, bad things, good things, bad things, disparaging things about Bitcoin because it doesn't have a use case. Its use case is a store of value. And when that value is flying and every company in the world's trying to get in on it, that's its use case. Now, Jeff, the use case for Binance coin is that if you're on Binance, you get a discounted fee. That's it. I mean, am I missing something? Tell me in the chat if I'm missing something. But that seems to be it. I don't know.
That seems to be it. I mean, maybe there's something more you're investing. You're hoping for the growth of the platform, and if the platform grows more, then they're going to use more Binance token. The other big one, I can't find. Where is it? Where's Bitcoin Cash? Where is it? Did I pass it? Bitcoin Cash was making some big moves as well. I'd put that in the winner spot only because it's been making. There it is. Bitcoin Cash, $700. It's up 32%.
You know, I'll tell you why I think.
I'll
tell you why I think that's getting a good pump. Kim.com has been very friendly towards it. They're building around it. They're going to use that, and he's got his own coin. But I like some of the things he's saying. He's like, guys, don't be tribal. Don't hate on that, because he's getting all the incoming from the Bitcoiners, right? The Bitcoin, the maxis, not about altcoins, but about Bitcoin Cash. And he's like, look, it's a whole marketplace. It's open, and we talk about this all the time. Being tribal, it doesn't do anything for the whole crypto universe. Like I said, you can't have let's go to the stock market and there's one stock. I mean, come on, it doesn't make any sense. And for this ecosystem to grow, we need a lot of coins to do real well, right? They won't all make it, but out of the 5,000, yeah, they're not all going to make it. But look what's happened in the last 6 months to a year, Jeff. We've had some incredible coins kind of come out of nowhere and really start getting some traction. Their projects taking off. They're solving real problems. Payment rails, blockchain interoperability, like with Polkadot, and the DeFi space. I mean, man, we are moving at light speed. That's what's great about.
Oh,
and Jeff,
look at that.
We lost you.
Man. We lost me. You can still hear me, man.
I can still hear you.
Fix it. Can you believe that? I'll fix it in a minute. But let me pull this up before I log off. This is the big losers of today, Chip. I'm gonna put on as the retail investor. So Roaring Kitty has been sued for securities fraud over the GameStop rise. So Roaring Kitty was one of the big ones behind the whole Wall Street bets. So we have Keith Gill, one of the more influential voices there. And so look at a proposed class action against Gill. And I look at this. Gill's deceitful and manipulative conduct not only violated numerous industry regulation and rules, but also various security laws by undermining the integrity of the market for GameStop shares. So, then they focus, he caused enormous losses, not only to those who bought option contracts, but also those who fell to Gill's act and bought GameStop stock during the market frenzy as greatly inflated prices. But the one thing that I look at with all of this is that, you have the retail guys, were actually, benefiting, but it was the exchanges, Robinhood and some of the others that shut down the buys and allowed only for sells that started to tank the market. There were so much more, but I look at that lawsuit. I'm going to put that in the big loss of today. What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with you. Well, yeah, it is pretty sad, but I did tweet a little bit about this, Jeff. Let me go ahead and yeah, there you go. So, guys, I did tweet about this, and if you guys know one of the people that I love who's actually down here in Miami, the founder and CEO, let me put this on the screen, guys. The founder and CEO, Carlos Domingo, he is the founder and CEO of Securitize, and he's actually right down the road in Miami. So I do chat with him a little bit here and there. He doesn't know who I am. He's just some guy, whatever. But I got to show you this. He actually did this little bit. He said, so he tweeted about this earlier today. Is Keith Gill going to wear a headband at the Capitol Hill hearings? And I'm like, and this T-shirt, which let me show you the T-shirt. So here he is, and there's the T-shirt, and yep, it's pretty much game over, man. So that was like just making a little bit of joke earlier, and let me see, we had another little go around here. Here we go. Here was the other one. He's like, check this out, the hang in there pictures in the background, legend. This is him testifying today. So it's like, here it is right there. Boom, the hang in there cat. The cat, Man. So of course I ate that up and loved it, right? So Jeff, let's get to
Thango was saying I paid my electric bill with BTC. So I'm still waiting in the dark. That's why I'm waiting in the dark. How you like that? Reggie over here, he's on the chain, not off the chain. Gotta love that.
That's right. I like that, Reg. Yeah, because that's that other guy. That's your boy Pump. It's my boy Pump. It's your boy Chip and Jeff. What's up?
So,
You know, that's cool if I'm like 20 something, you know, maybe I have one gold tooth and I can pull that off. But no, man, I mean, I can't pull that off.
and Kelly's bringing up the SEC complaint says XRP a digital asset security. Nice. We love our digital asset security.
I'm going to get into that, guys. Don't get stuck on the nomenclature or the terminology. Do not get stuck on that. Let's dive in, Jeff. Let's dig in. Okay, guys. So we did a Chip and Jeff deep dive on this thing where we ripped it apart. What we did was we compared what you're seeing on the screen right now are the number of changes that were made. A lot of that number right here that we see, the 993, represents a lot of number changes. A little bit of shifting around and stuff, and some of the things they moved around. But I want to point something out. This is the original complaint. Let's look at the date, guys. Let's look at it together. This was filed on December 22. Now, what I saw going around the internet today was everybody was saying the digital asset security in the opening paragraph, but that's been there for the last. That was in the original complaint. Here's the new complaint. This is the amendment, the first amended complaint, and there it is right there. So it's nothing new per se. It's the same exact thing. I want to give a big shout out to Lucas there. Lucas Abaya 5. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for the support. And let's jump back into this because if we jump back into this compare document, let's go look at it. So we've kind of like, there were 300 insertions, 460 replacements, 230 deletions. And what I want to do is start at the top here.
Start right at the top.
Let's go look at the first change, right? This is just basically what they changed a little bit in the header. It doesn't really, there's not really anything
what
substantive.
Were they thinking? Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Please say it isn't so, Jeff. So I'm going to jump through that.
There we go.
They don't really change anything until the 74th line right here. And here's something really interesting. So I think just before we get into this, I just want to make a little opening statement here, just because Jeff and I have looked at this. And kind of what I want to say is, you know, I really wonder about this. I really understand why Ripple is so gung-ho to go defend themselves, because the case that the SEC has against them, it's almost getting weaker by the moment. And the more Jeff and I go through this and start reading it, you start realizing that they shored up a couple words here. They put a couple more adjectives in there. Doesn't really change anything. I mean, in some ways they got a little more concise. Some of the numbers shifted in here a little bit. Jeff, I don't know if you wanted to say anything because after looking at it,
well,
but
let me just point some things out. I think, you know, if we go back right to the beginning, you know, for those that might not have even have read through the case, but the way they you know start phrasing the complaint, it immediately begins to single them out as almost like they're criminals, you know. Right. So they're trying to. It's a character assassination right from the beginning, and obviously they're putting a lot into this that has nothing to do with whether or not XRP was a security, but has a lot to do as they're building. These are the guys that did it, and here's why they did it, because this is who they are. And if you go to line 3, it comes right out of the bat. It says Ripple engaged in this illegal security offering from 2013 to present, even though Ripple received legal advice as early as 2012 that under certain circumstances, XRP could be considered an investment contract and therefore a security under the federal securities law. So I would like to, you know, even point out, and as I was looking through that, trying to figure out who gave them that advice. Did it come from the SEC back in 2012? Because after that, maybe, you know, loose advice, they were quiet. So there was no word out of the SEC until 2020.
Oh, it's a good. That's well said, Jeff. It really does start looking like it's a very weak case, because you got to look at one thing. If you're going to look at, because they never charged either Garlinghouse or Larson with fraud. You know, you read through the whole thing. There was no fraud, but there's a lot of things alleged. We didn't like the way they did this. A lot of feelings involved. So what? Does that have anything to do with the 4 prongs of the Howey test? I want to do a big shout out to Vince 724, 7, 2, and 4 is 13. A nice number, by the way. And I wanted to thank you for that support. Really appreciate it. Let's jump back in here. James.
That's a big one right there.
Whoa. Hey now. James Rule XRP. Look at this. Buy a pizza with this XRP donation. Cheers. Thank you, James. You're always so kind. Good friend of the show and just a good guy in general,
man. That's going to cost you 10,000 Bitcoin for that pizza.
That's right. 10,000 Bitcoin. We'll get you in a time machine, right?
Hey, Chip, before we go on, I just want to point out there's like one more statement in here that they made in line 7. when they were focused in on, line 7 says Garlinghouse did so, meaning they were selling their digital assets. So personally profited by approximately 600 million from their unregistered sales of XRP. But then they go on, Garlinghouse did so while repeatedly touting that he was very long XRP, meaning he held a significant position. He expected to rise in value without disclosing his sales. So they're trying to make a claim that goes out to the community that this guy who keeps saying that he's in it for the long haul has been selling, even though he still has holdings, but he's not disclosing his sales. Then they go into 8. And it says defendants continue to hold substantial amounts of XRP. But so now before, they're trying to character assassinate him. Then they, in line 8, they're saying that they're still holding it, but now they're going to claim that they're holding it with no registration statement in effect, can continue to monetize their XRP while using the information asymmetry they created in the market for their own gain, creating substantial risk to investors.
Right.
So I think line 6 and 7 was really geared up, and maybe even 6, 7, 8 really geared up to the investors. They're trying to put that out to the community to create a little bit of a character assassination.
But again, where are the merits of this case? And the best that I can tell, it has to do whether or not the two employees, right? One's a founder, one is a CEO. You have Larson and Garlinghouse. Did they sell unregistered securities? Meanwhile, they have stuff going on all over the place. They're real flowery all over the place. And I'll show you some of the things that they changed in here. Let's run in here. So if you look here, line 74, they changed it from ongoing unregistered offering by, among other things, being responsible for its operation to, among other things, alleged here. So now they're alleging. It's alleged, not they're softening the language a little bit. But again, when we go through this, I want you to start thinking in terms of where's their case. Are they talking specifically about how it doesn't meet the Howey test, how specifically how it's a security? Hey, so what? You know what? A lot of people get compensation. They're compensated in stock. James Rule XRP is compensated with XRP. One of the clear-cut cases, they should call him up as a witness in this and say, hey, James, by the way, how do you receive your compensation? XRP. No. Like, how do you get paid? XRP. No. Please. No. I mean, like, do you get any? No, I get paid in XRP. Oh, it has a value. And guess what? He'll throw his card up and it'll show him that, guess what? I can use this anywhere. So a lot of the language and stuff and changes that they put in here, spent a lot of time with this, looking through this today. I don't even know if some of the changes really made. It doesn't change the original complaint, right? For example, here we are right here. They added Ripple's ongoing. Hang on a second. I'm gonna go to the next one here. So the problem is there are a lot of number changes, so they don't always match up. But I want to roll back down to, let's go here. There we go. I think it's 80.
It's a great statement before you read that. This was Atomic Snow. Following about 20 different cryptos carefully as a diversified investor, it always blows my mind just how many throw FUD and lies about XRP. I mean, that's spot
that's
on.
So well said, man. So well said. So I want to go down to, I want to roll down to 87 here. Actually, did I miss 74? I did. Look at that. Huh. I did have them marked out. The problem is this document starts getting real heavy. But you can see there's a pretty modest changes. When you're starting to see all those number changes, that means at some point they move some of the stuff around in the paragraphs, right? So, but I wanted to specifically talk about this, the allegement, and sorry, let me just jump back down. Sorry, it's a little bit cumbersome here. But we want to go down to number 87 here. 87. One of the things they say here, they say from April. So this is one of the things they changed right here. So on number 87, they changed from, this is it, get ready, prepare yourself for it. They changed from December of 2019 to at least October of 2020. So they've updated it going beyond December. And basically the statement says April 2017 from at least October 2020, while an affiliate of Ripple as CEO, Garlinghouse sold over 357 million. And going back to your point, Jeff, they also changed it. It used to say 350 or 321 million, and they're like, oh no. In actuality, it was 357 million. And again, what does that have to do with whether Garlinghouse sold it or didn't sell it? They're trying to connect that back to an investment contract, and whether he's selling part of his compensation, because that's how he was compensated, especially Garlinghouse specifically, and Larson, the same way James Rule XRP is compensated part of their salary. I'm sure he receives a salary of fiat, and on top of that, he's gifted XRP. But a lot of people in the community, I think, are misreading this, saying, "Oh my gosh, Garlinghouse was selling stuff." Well, yeah, guess what? People sell their stocks and they do this stuff all day. It's not a big thing. Jeff, thoughts?
Yeah. So no, I'm trying to look back to what happened in 2012, and they do draft out some of the things that were kind of going around in the 2012 time period. And one of the things that they brought up, this goes back to Section 50, where Ripple's lawyers warned Ripple and Larson that XRP could be a security. And so they're coming out and saying that it could be, but the SEC still provided zero clarity or advice. 51 says Ripple sought the advice of an international law firm regarding certain state and federal legal risks associated with the distribution and monetization. Now, Chip, I mean, doesn't it make sense that here they are, they're going to work with banks, they're rolling out RippleNet. There's,
right.
There was a lot more at stake in terms of what they were working on. So you have the XRP ledger, you have XRP. Now they're finding a way to get it out into the space, just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum did, a number of years later, just like so many of the other digital assets went through a very similar kind of, birthing process as it starts rolling out. Obviously with Bitcoin, a little bit different, but, still what we saw, like, the Ethereum Foundation had was moving and selling Ethereum. And there's just many other instances of this over and over again. But, Chip, at this point, they're focusing on a memo that is saying that it could be, and they have to look at the risk of it. And I'm sure that, as they move forward, I mean, what are your thoughts at that point? As they're, well, I want to lead with this right here. I think
Razor Vet has this right, because he's like, and this is something we brought up, but Vitalik Buterin sold 500,000 Ethereum to Mike Novogratz for 99 cents each. Who cares? Yeah, I'll tell you why. We all care. Here's why. Ripple attorneys, these are some of the best attorneys, right? And you got to go back to 2013. 2013, what were you guys doing? What were you doing in 2013 when the digital asset thing was just starting to get going? Bitcoin was just really young and getting going. People were trying and experimenting. So the attorneys at that time, if you're going to say that an attorney thought it could be a security, what did an attorney know back in 2013? The digital asset class was brand new. Who had experience with digital assets? What attorney specialized in blockchain and digital assets? Nobody did, right? Because it was so new, nobody knew what was going on. And what Razor Vet's pointing out here is that Vitalik also thanked Mike Novogratz. He said, "Thank you for saving the company," basically saving it. And that he purchased up front, it's kind of like you'd almost, if you want to deem that almost like an ICO, because that didn't roll out for months later until people actually received their coins and everything and had a value. So he thanked him publicly in 2015. Now, Ripple goes after, makes a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act, to go ahead and solicit from the SEC the actual documentation. How did you arrive at that? Show us your emails, because when you get into a case, you want discovery on both sides. Now they have to go through Freedom of Information to be able to get this. So they got to file it through the Freedom of Information Act. They got to wait. They have 20 days to get a response. The response could be like, "Yeah, we got your thing." But the thing is, they'll probably expedite it because of this court case that's upcoming. But here's why Ripple's super smart. They know that by getting this documentation, they want emails. They want to know, how did the SEC arrive at the fact that Ethereum, or the token Ether, is not a security? Because what Razor Vet's pointing out here is it damn well looks like a security in 2015, right? And so are they alleging? So there's two thoughts of that. Are they saying that yes, we don't care about it because later it was decentralized and we realized that it had its own merits as a digital asset, and the SEC doesn't care because 2.5 years ago they said nope, not a security? So that's
Yeah,
something, that's some interesting to think about.
Yeah,
Jeff.
that's really interesting. I think it's very relevant, and it kind of, it puts the SEC in their place, because they have to now, come up with the exact reasons as to why they then, determined that Ethereum wasn't. But if you go back all the way to 2012, you brought up what attorney at the time specialized in blockchain or crypto or even thought about it. It was way too new. We're seeing that people are only now kind of understanding and really making some adjustments in their approach. But the SEC at that point, 2012, 2013, they're confused now. They look at XRP as a digital asset security. So you could see that they're not up to date on terminology. They're not up to date on the technology. And they're still very confused, as we see the rest of the world has already made statements about XRP and other digital assets, not being securities, and they're moving forward with the future. It's only the SEC that's tripping over themselves to misunderstand it. But I think at the end of the day, Chip, the positive element of all of this is that we need to get some clarity out of all of it. And if there was positive. And if there was a settlement on all of what we're talking about now, there's a good chance that they wouldn't have ruled necessarily that XRP is not a security, or even if they did, there's still other elements involved in this whole process.
Hey, right.
Because if the SEC says it, they can still retract what they said about Ethereum. It could,
What about mining pools, Jeff? You could also say that you could almost say that mining pools for Bitcoin could be deemed a security as well. So I mean, look at this. Exactly. I want to pull this up. That's the point you were talking about. This is just an article I pulled up, but these were the top 10 coins in 2013. Bitcoin was king, obviously. This is 2013. Litecoin, okay, great. Charlie, yeah, we heard of Litecoin. You guys never heard of Namecoin? It was number 3. It was where XRP took its place. Anybody remember Namecoin? So what attorney at the time knew anything about digital assets, the blockchain space, decentralization? They're going from legacy stuff that they knew. So if they go like, can you imagine like they're a Ripple attorney's like, I have something to say. Hang on a second. They got like this. I have something to say. And they're like, what is it? And they take out their pen. They go, there's a good possibility that Ripple, you mean the token? Yeah, the token could be a security. What are you going on? Well, I'm looking at the token. I mean, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Look at this, Jeff. Namecoin. You remember it? Anybody know what Namecoin is? Yeah. Okay. What about Purecoin? Anybody? Hello? Hello? Anybody? No. Does anybody remember NovaCoin? So you're telling me that attorneys in 2013 said, well, it might be a security when they don't even know what in the hell blockchain, decentralization, or a crypto token is, right? Terracoin. Remember that one? Yeah, Terracoin was number 6. It's going to the moon, people. How about Devcoin? Anyone remember that? Yeah. What about Freycoin? Nobody? Anybody? Hello? What about Feathercoin? It's as light as a feather, but powerful in price. And guess what? No. How about CHN coin? Anybody? So this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. I get more confident every time I see stuff, Jeff. Ripple attorneys are going to tear them up. That's why they're super excited to go into court, because they're going to get much needed clarity. Listen, I'm not of the frame of mind thinking a settlement's good. A settlement does nothing. A settlement doesn't provide clarity. Congress doesn't seem to be in any way, shape, or form interested in providing clarity. I don't know where their heads are, right? They're all over the place. Oh, you remember Purecoin. Okay, Fraser. Okay.
We got a winner, Fraser.
Winner, chicken dinner, Fraser. All right, that's really good. So anything else you want to say, Jeff? Or let me dive back into this puppy?
Let's dive back in. Let's go right back.
Let's go back into this puppy. So,
wait, before you start, hey, you got to put this up here. Oh, where'd it go? Wait a minute.
Clowncoin? I like Clowncoin.
There we go. Hey, guys, I switched my whole life around the U.S. time clock now because you guys are worth staying up for. Mikey from the UK.
You are a badass. You are a badass,
changing
Mikey.
His whole time zone. Just everything to stay up and hang out. That's awesome.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate that, man. So let's jump in here, because if you look at what they're talking about here, seriously, like as if updating the number, this is Garlinghouse right here. 321 to 357. Oh, big change there, right? in some of these other, there's a lot of minor stuff, but again, some of the stuff they're shoring up their I would say they're shoring up a little bit on their there's one big section here. Yeah, see, the thing is too, is what I've done is I've actually searched in the original docs. So they've done some juxtaposing. They moved this paragraph here, trying to tell their story. I don't see anything that really strengthens the case, especially when we're talking about what's at hand. Is XRP a security? Was it an unregistered security when it was sold? They talk a lot about in here, and Jeff, you brought this up. They talk an awful lot in this document, this complaint, even the First Amendment, about them selling the token and about the fact that when they did provide it to a money transmitter named MoneyGram, that they sold it instantly. Well, I almost think that works against them, because if they sold it immediately, that tells you something, that it had a value to it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done anything with it. And if there's no value, it's working in the capacity of a token that has value, derived value from it. Right. Here's this other one here. They talk about Garlinghouse approval parameters. For example, on mid-December 2015, Garlinghouse's then Chief Financial Officer, CFO, emailed Larson and Garlinghouse with daily updates regarding the market price and volume XRP and how it impacted Ripple's market sales strategy. Okay, that's what companies do. They watch I can assure you that any company that has a cryptocurrency, I don't care, it has a project, right? Not like Bitcoin, it's Satoshi Nakamoto, but anything that's a project, they know the number every single day. There's not someone in the organization says, oh man, I'm sorry, I've just been too busy, I don't know what the price is. Of course you look at the price. Of course you look at that, because the success of your company, XRP wasn't designed to be 52 cents. It wasn't designed to be $1. It's like if you're moving, you want stability. But Jeff, if it was designed to be $1, doesn't make any sense. It was designed to be much higher so that you could move it back and forth in 3-4 seconds, and you could use for ODL, on-demand liquidity. That's what it was designed for. If they're talking to the company, they sold this and they did this, but they got an email and someone said this again. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? That's a phrase we have. I don't know what that means exactly, but GoldenEye.
I schedule my dating life around.
Oh my God, this is incredible. Now your dating life. GoldenEye. Is GoldenEye a Bond flick? Am I getting that right? I think it is. GoldenEye, tell us in there, man. Is it GoldenEye? Something like that.
Cameron's concerned how many YouTubers are shilling XRP. Yeah.
Well, Cameron, what do you want to say about that, Jeff? Do you have a thought about that?
Oh, no, I agree. I agree to an extent that there's a lot of hype in the space, and, people are creating scenarios that may never, exist, and they're just reaching and kind of piecing things together for a specific desired outcome. And you can look at, here's your outcome, and then you try to backwork your desired outcome and try to find all the things that are potentially leading up to it. I think, from our perspective, we're looking at this space, and, we're invested in other assets. We look at the project, you look at the viability of the digital asset itself, because you could say the same thing for Bitcoin. There's, as many, if not more, individuals out there that are, pumping Bitcoin crazily, that are 100%, ultra focused just on the Bitcoin maxis, which then go out and seek to crush anybody that wants to, involve themselves in any other project. And here, you've got XRP. We know XRP, based on the XRP ledger, the use case of the XRP ledger chip is, what inspires me, because this space is young, it's growing, there's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, you're spot on about that. So I wanted to, this is a good question from Kim Crypto Novice. She says, do you feel the SEC are doing what they've been told to do to hold the price back? It just feels like it's all show. Maybe Gensler is being held back on purpose too. So personally, how I look at that, look, I absolutely kind of believe this is the best thing to happen. I almost feel like we might be sending some chocolates and flowers to the previous chair, Jay Clayton, because he actually looks like he's done this whole altcoin I would say the whole community a really big favor. Why? Because Ripple didn't want to settle. They had a chance to settle. Now, I know they said, well, it was a previous administration. There was this, there was that, whatever it is. The bottom line is they settle. They get a slap on the wrist. Okay, you sold it. If they don't walk away from a settlement with clarity, like, hey, we've been begging you for 7-8 years. We've been telling you every time we make a move, and now you're not going to give us any more clarity. So this case is really the best thing that ever happened. I don't think it's holding price back at all. I know there's a lot of different competing sort of ideas out there. I just don't subscribe to them. I believe that you file something. Look, 8 years, 10 years, Bitcoin's been around 11 years. 11 years of a digital asset, we have zero clarity in the United States. The entire world has moved beyond because they're smarter, they're quicker, they're faster, and they also see the opportunity. I hate to say it, but in the U.S., they don't see that. Congress has been, I think the SEC thought Congress would do it. Congress thought almost anybody else would pass meaningful legislation because most Congress. Of the time, bottom line is they hate us. That's the point. They don't hate us. They don't care. Both sides, they conspire. They don't like. If you knew that you could build up this industry, at least Bill Clinton had the foresight to understand, don't tax the internet, let it go, let it be open, let it thrive, and just let it run wild. And thank God that all happened. But you also had a Republican Congress that said, let it run wild. Let's not get in the way of it. Meanwhile, when you go to 2020 and you look at what's happening with this whole thing, it's a different story. I don't necessarily believe that at all. I don't think any of the price is being held back. I think that this is going to provide such amazing clarity. Ripple is going to crush them the more and more. And I'll read this next statement here. But Jeff, I just believe that Ripple is salivating. They cannot wait to get in there. Their attorneys are going to tear it up. And I hope they get their FOIA request because they're going to systematically show if a jury trial and a judge and explain to them, hey, by the way, and they'll call them up there and say, well, here's an email that you sent on the 2015th, and you were aware that Mike Novogratz had purchased 500,000 shares, and it looks like you didn't care. But you're so concerned about us and what we're doing over here when we are the only company that in the digital asset space that have been telling you every move.
Well, that's a solid point. We've talked about that multiple times over, that it is Ripple that has sought regulatory clarity. It's Ripple that went out to try to educate Congress. It's Ripple that was the first one to make a statement that reached out to the SEC. But where is the SEC, on what's going on with Jed? Just nothing.
Doesn't care.
If they cared about it in its entirety, I get it. They have a case against Ripple, but there should be a mention of him in here if they're really concerned about what's going on with the sale of the digital asset, because he's selling huge amounts of it. There's a lot of others that are selling, big amounts of it, but no mention anywhere, no case. But we see that the SEC is coming after and trying to single out the way we started Roaring Kitty. Instead of, going after hedge funds, they're singling out retail investors, just like here. They're going after an asset with little knowledge of it. And it's mind-boggling where their allegiance may or may not be. It's hard to say. At this point, you can just kind of make an assumption based on what we're seeing. And the objective of the SEC is to protect the retail investor, and everything that they seem to be doing at this moment is contrary to protecting the retail investor, including how they are looking at, what happened with Citadel, Robinhood, GameStop, the guys on Reddit, the hedge funds, what's going on, beyond in the digital asset space with Ripple. Just no care whatsoever. Nothing. How many billions have been lost? We talked about it the other night. Billions. Because it's not just individuals that are, buying or selling. It's also the builders in the space that are utilizing the technology of the XRP ledger that could also then be impacted by what's going on. I mean, it's just nothing. No mention of it whatsoever.
Yeah, but Jeff, something you're bringing up, you're really making a valid point. We talked about this the other night. The reason, you don't think that Jed McCaleb went to the SEC and said, I'm going to dump this stuff? You know what it tells me? It tells me that the SEC is not concerned what happens today. Why? Because it turns out XRP is not a security. Now, it may have been. They may have alleged it was. They still got to prove in the court of law that it was. But that tells me they don't really care. Because remember when Jed paused for a little bit? There was that the suit was dropped. He did not get out of, he didn't sell any of his stash, and then all of a sudden things started spinning up. You don't think he got clarity on that? He's one of the original founders. Him and Larson are one of the original founders, yet they're going after them personally, right? You talked about the character assassination, but they're throwing a lot of loose stuff in here, and I like, if you start getting off your argument here. I appreciate that, Cameron. Yeah, expat said this too. Chip, you work in law because you seem to understand the documents and everything. Jeff and I, being in business and the kind of business that I'm in, I have written pleadings. I have corrected a lot of documents. I read a lot of court documents. I've gotten, we've submitted stuff that we've gotten rulings on and opinions. That's why I know a little bit, probably a lot more than I want to know about, the Southern District of New York. I'm not an attorney, but yeah, being in business, and Jeff and I, both business guys, doing business development stuff, we read a lot of contracts. We know the sneaky stuff they put in there, so we kind of see some of that. So yeah, Jeff and I deal a lot with this, with contracts, agreements, attorney. Like I said, it's always fun to get sued when you have a startup too. It's people come after you. You learn how to do this stuff, but. No, we're not attorneys.
Tear it up. I like tearing up what lawyers write. I mean,
well, that's what I always like. It's always funny when I get in a negotiation. They go, "You're an attorney, right?" I'm like, "Actually, not an attorney." Like, how do you? I go, "Look, I did research. I read. I know." After a while, you see the same kind of stuff, crop up, and I see a really weak case here. Here, let's throw this up here just to look at it. Here it is. Market sales had been paused due to a drop in XRP price. Suggests that the following day, the sales be restarted. Larson instead instructed the CFO to keep pause for now, because now this is the stuff they added, right? Because originally over here they had, on occasion, Ripple employees or the market makers consulted Larson and Garlinghouse on parameters for conducting Ripple market sales. But they felt like they had to go further. And meanwhile, they don't strengthen any of the argument. They just tell a bigger story. And then he did this and he did that, and then the CFO paused it. And then he hoped that the market would recover from this mistake. The afternoon, the CFO indicated the XRP price had remained stable, and then they go into 101. Similarly, on April 2016, the CFO emailed Larson and Garlinghouse regarding continued downward pressure on the price of XRP. And again, we continue to, I'm like, so Jeff, going from occasionally some Ripple employees being very vague and then getting very pointed does not help their argument. It's like whether it's vague in some Ripple employees on the market maker side, they consulted Larson and Garlinghouse. Now they say, well, no, on this date and this date, it doesn't strengthen the argument. So this is what the part is. And the thing is, they don't ever allege fraud. So if they keep all these flowery words into one thing, is prove that XRP was an unregistered security at the time when Larson and Garlinghouse sold it. And I don't know what all this other stuff. I don't know what all this other stuff is. So I get more and more confident as time goes on. I don't listen to what a lot of people are moving this way, and it means this, and it's going to be the world reserve, the new world reserve currency. It's going to be the bridge. It's going to be CBC. All this kind of stuff. That's all great. It's a lot of speculation, but we're just analyzing what's at hand.
Yeah, that's it, Chip. XRP bloke. Was Ripple curious about the daily price of XRP because it's an asset out of their control, but important to the future of what Ripple is trying to build? I would agree with that. I think, especially where we're at now, especially with what they were forecasting, the one thing that they're doing, the scope of their project, outside of what all the speculators, there's too many people speculating on XRP, like you said, becoming a reserve currency, replacing the dollar, becoming a global currency. That's a little bit, at this point in time, it's not that I wouldn't believe it, because after seeing what we just went through in 2020, anything is possible at this point, because I would have told you in 2019 that 2020 would never happen, but it did happen. So anything is possible. I still don't see it. I don't see that we come from here to there. What I do see is, from a business perspective and a banking perspective, RippleNet is critical to the ebb and flow of currencies globally. That means that all transactions can benefit from utilizing the RippleNet software solution more so than what we're currently using, which is Swift and third-party settlement. And that solution is slow, bogged down, just riddled with problems. And so RippleNet, if we want to just focus on the technology and not the speculation, just the technology has an amazing, opportunity and potential to blow things up. And I've said it so many times, and others have said this as well, but ODL, the on-demand liquidity, is the game changer in their whole solution. Without ODL, RippleNet is Swift 2.0 and nothing more. So are banks going to take them on? Yes, because they're taking them on now. But the game changer that's exciting about blockchain, fintech, crypto, digital assets, and XRP is ODL. ODL is changing the way a lot of things are going to ebb and flow around the world as far as economics are concerned. And that does not mean that XRP then becomes the reserve currency. Am I right or wrong?
I think you're spot on. I think pointing out the fact of the use case, pointing out the fact that it works in conjunction with the XR, and I think it was XRP bloke, the one we just had up there. That's a very good analysis, because guess what? It's so spot on. They couldn't control it, so they were worried about it, and they were talking amongst themselves inside, saying, "Okay, pause it, because you don't want to dump it." They're looking at what the market, how the market's reacting to it. And if they controlled it, like what there's sometimes, I want to say they're alleging in here, but they kind of talk around it, then, well, so what does that all mean? I want to show this one point here, because on 90 they changed something. I want to show you this word that appears often in here. So right here they added, at relevant times, Garlinghouse and Larson knew or recklessly disregarded, okay? By adding recklessly disregarded doesn't strengthen your case. It's just a bunch of hearsay, right? It's like, so here it is, right here, and I wanted to point out this, let somebody see how many times this word appears in here. It's so funny to say, and here, relevant times, they knew, they disregarded, they knew or they recklessly disregarded. This is in the, they knew or they recklessly disregarded. Here we are in 293. Here we are, boom, section 7, they recklessly, so by saying it over and over, doesn't change the fact that you haven't even been able to, in theory, show why XRP is a security. Let's keep going. They at least recklessly, that would be on the 403, they at least acted recklessly while engaging in the conduct. It's like recklessly, it's an opinion, right? Prove it. How did they act recklessly? Here we go again in section B. Garlinghouse knew or recklessly disregarded. Here we are again, 413. I'm showing the absurdity. Saying it over and over again doesn't make it so. He said, like, disregarded none of Ripple's sales. And so what if they sold them? They could have sold them, not sold them, did everything else. But the bottom line, and right here, the tolling agreements, I kind of wanted, this is kind of an adjunct, but I want to talk about the tolling agreements. The tolling agreements suspend that 5-year statute of limitation. So with the SEC, you can't go back further than 5 years unless you have a buy-in from the other party. In this case, you have a buy-in from Ripple. Just being friendly. Yeah, we would like to go back. So they create what's called a tolling agreement. And there were a bunch of times when they did this, but the very first time they did it, the statute of limitation was lifted from April 1st, 2019 to June 30th, right there. Let's highlight that puppy. And then there were a bunch of other periods that they did that. So what happened? Why did they lift those tolling agreements? Obviously, discovery was going on. Obviously, this is where all those email dumps were coming from, because Ripple probably had all the intention in the world to cooperate with the SEC to try to get to some sort of clear footing as far as what they could do, what they couldn't do, but they were looking to settle. They didn't want this lawsuit. Nobody wants a lawsuit. But no, when SEC came to fight, Ripple lawyered up, man, and they came to win. Now you can come to fight, put them up, but Ripple came to win. Just my impression of that.
Oh, Chip, yeah, we saw that as we reviewed the joint letter that was issued yesterday that we went through. We tore that up. It was the day before, I think it came out. We reviewed it yesterday, and we saw both sides of it. And we saw some people coming out on YouTube again speculating that there was going to be a settlement before the pretrial hearing on the 22nd. Now, the SEC is coming out very clear that they don't want a settlement. Ripple tried to get a settlement a couple months back. They denied it. They weren't willing to have a settlement. So now here we go. We have to have the 22nd. The pretrial conference has to happen. That's going to happen on the 22nd. Whatever comes out of that, it is possible when they finally sit down. The SEC is trying to bolster their case as much as they can. Ripple is going to try to bolster their case as much as they can. They're going to sit down and decide, hey, if this goes to trial, here's what the possible outcome is going to be. We've already, based on the suit, the complaint that was filed, it's already cost tens of billions of dollars in lost, I can't call it revenue, but that was lost. And who knows what the trajectory is from this point forward. The only real outcome of this case moving forward that the SEC could gain on is that it's going to damage the space in the US. And that's it, because Ripple, XRP, all the other digital assets are going to continue to exist over in Asia and many of the other countries. And one of the things that we were going to talk about tonight, but this came up, was what's going on with China. And China's taking a leading role in digital currency, not necessarily digital asset, but they're moving things forward. Asia's moving things forward. The only loser that's going to come out of all of this is going to be the US at the end of the day, if the case isn't one chip. But hey, I just real quick before we don't get to it's gone already. There it is.
It's gone.
Sorry, that was a lot.
There you go, Reg. Thank you, Reg.
SEC in complaint does not refer to Hinman's remarks or test, which industry relied on for some clarity. That's right, nothing. Zero mention of it. And then you have some support
home-based
here
income. Thank
from
you,
home-based income. I can't tell if the noise is coming through my headset or if it's something outside.
It's in your head, Jeff. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I think it's coming internally. You just got to So
it's loud though.
You brought up the joint letter. No, I don't hear it. And maybe you guys do, but so I want to go back to this joint letter because I think something that a lot of people glossed over. They say I read it, I didn't see anything, but look, this is huge right here, and I love the fact that you only have so much space to put. Look, the SEC condenses what they're talking about in the joint letter. You get the attorneys together, and then all of a sudden you have the Ripple comes together. But look at how massively big this is. Accordingly, Ripple's ongoing sales of XRP cannot be considered a security offering. It's crucial that the court adjudicate. Adjudicate means instantaneous. You got to intervene instantaneously. This issue promptly. The SEC's complaint asks this court to bar Ripple permanently from delivering XRP to any persons or otherwise participating in the offering digital assets, right? So they're trying to just close it down. Then they talk about the prayer for relief, but they said the sweeping request wreaked havoc in an otherwise orderly market. Now, what they're doing here is they're looking out after you. And this is what I thought was really weird that so many people glossed over this, because that was one thing that stuck out to us, Jeff, when we read through this thing. I was like, think about it. They're putting it in there, their concern for the community of investors, because quite honestly, it's a really good tactic when the fiduciary responsibility of the SEC is to basically protect investors. So I think, when they wrote this to the Honorable Anna Torres, who's the judge in this case, they go on to say to impose a regulatory, I lost my place here. Yeah, participants have come to the conclusion the SEC intends to impose a regulatory structure on XRP does not apply to other digital assets such as Bitcoin and Ether. Doubt as to XRP's regulatory status has been harmed, not only by Ripple, but thousands of non-parties that integrate XRP into products or offerings. So what they're saying is why did you take down the entire market? Why did you crush the market of investors who you're supposed to be looking out for? Why did you crush potential companies that are making headway and coming up with new technologies because they integrate XRP? You have Coil, you have what's coming out with the Spark token, with Flare. So they're saying, why would you crush that marketplace with all this uncertainty? And they said also thousands of non-parties, which are not investors, but they're companies. They go into this whole thing about otherwise support XRP. In the wake of the SEC's complaint, XRP holders, including millions of innocent retail holders of XRP with no connection at all to Ripple. They're making a clever statement here. They're doing two things here that I can see, and I love this. And when I read this stuff, I get super jazzed about it because I'm like, they're so freaking clever the way they weave it in there. It's one paragraph long, but it says a lot. On one hand, they're taking a shot at the SEC and not protecting the investor, and also crushing companies that integrate it, right? And they're looking out. Right, and they're looking at the community too. The other thing they do here is they talk about the $15 billion loss, innocent retail holders. So a judge reads this and goes, that's weird. The SEC is supposed to be looking out for them people. And if you're not going after guys like Jed McCaleb for selling their giant bags, what exactly is this complaint all about, right? So I love that one statement, so I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff, because that was the one paragraph in there that I thought had a lot of teeth on it.
That's it. Yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, that you just well said.
I can't believe how we're. I can't believe the time. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff to go into. We might end up doing a part 2 on this, but I think bottom line, let's just do some closing statements here. My closing statement is this: I feel very, very good about Ripple and the case that they have. The more I read into it, the more they amend this, the First Amendment. There's nothing really in there substantive. Adding a few adjectives, a couple of verbs in there doesn't necessarily change. It doesn't make their case any stronger. Okay, so you change the number from 353 million to this. You increased it. Again, I understand for clarity and for the sake of getting it right. But again, I believe it's a weak case. Now, their mainstay here is they've got to go back to 2013. And I think Ripple would argue, look, what attorney in 2013 knew what blockchain was, right? We just went through the coins. It's ridiculous. So overall, what I believe is going to happen is I cannot wait for Ripple to get in there and just tear it up. And I just hope to God they get that FOIA request, because they're going to go through it and methodically show, and they'll be able to call the SEC and said, okay, well, call them as a witness. They want to depose the hell out of. They want to do all these additional depositions. I don't like depositions. Depositions are stressful. You're in a deposition. I told you, you're sitting across from a table from somebody. They're asking you questions. You're sweating. Got your attorney there, and they last for hours. Now, you know what happens? You're a little bit under stress. You have some duress going on. You know what happens? You blank out. They're like, well, it's exactly what happened. They on April 22nd of 2013. You're like, like flipping through. So I don't like this whole deposition, because then they take it. Someone misspoke. Look, no, I mean, I don't remember what I did last week, Jeff. I'm pretty remember 2013, but anyway, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, Chip, I think there, definitely a lot going on. I think we're going to see some interesting outcome on the 22nd, but if there is no settlement coming out of that, out of the 22nd, this case could go on for quite a while. But the one thing that we're seeing here that I'm optimistic about is the separation of the digital asset from the case. And so we see what's going on over in Asia. We're seeing Asia is very fired up about XRP. They're still fired up about XRP. So XRP is moving despite what happened in the beginning. So you can make a claim that as soon as that case, the complaint was filed on the 22nd of December, XRP dropped rapidly from 60 cents down to 20 cents. That 40-cent drop had a lot of people panic, and they bailed because of it. Many people bailed with a loss because of the filing of that complaint, something that is collateral damage that the SEC did not consider in any of this. And yet they're saying that, that they're the ones protecting the retail investors against what Ripple is doing, making an assumption that Ripple has been doing something nefarious, although Ripple has done everything out in the open, but they're focused on those 2 individuals. I think, overall, some people could come in and say, oh, you guys are shilling and standing up for these guys. No, because this case is more meaningful to the space at large than just about Ripple. That's my bigger take about all of this, that this case has to be won, because if it isn't, it's going to have a detrimental impact in the US across the board, and it is going to squeeze all of the companies here and push everybody outside the US. The US is going to be the one that is going to be the big loser in that case, and it has to be victorious. It has to set the tone.
No, you're absolutely right about that. But look, rest assured, right? Prove that XRP is not a security today. Prove that it's not a digital asset. Prove that it doesn't have value. Prove that it's not a token today. Right. Prove it. Prove that. No, never, not going to happen, right? So whatever happened in 2013 happened in 2013. A lot of things have been alleged. You got to prove it in the court of law, right? There's no, and see, what I love about that one statement in that joint letter is the fact that they talked about this needs to be adjudicated immediately. You're harming the marketplace. And you're right. Someone put in here about XLM. XLM, how come nothing happened to them? How come Jed McCaleb? How come he, nothing happened to him? He's an original founder. So the quickest way you can get to clarity after 11 years is to drop a lawsuit like this. That's my opinion. It's the quickest way. So people are upset they got to wait 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 months to get it right. To get it right. To do what Congress was unwilling to do. To get this thing right.
Unable to do.
that's more appropriate. To get it right, Jeff, actually walk away with this, no clarity, and build a giant behemoth of an industry in the U.S. and worldwide, because everybody will benefit from that ruling. That's why everybody knows that the price is attached to it. But I don't know. I get more and more optimistic every time I read something new, and I know that those Ripple's attorneys, their attorneys they've hired, and also the ones, there's a couple of attorneys for Garlinghouse who represent him individually because he was cited individually, and also Garlinghouse has his own set of lawyers individually. I think there's 20 or 21 total. But anyway, if it's your first time here, guys, like, subscribe. If you like what you hear here, remember, decentralization equals freedom. We're all about decentralization. We're all about blockchain. We're all about the entire sort of overall ecosystem. We're not maxis. We love XRP, but we like a lot of other projects too. We just tend to talk about something and we know a lot about. Am I wrong about that, Jeff?
No, 100% spot on. Hit the subscribe down below. It's a big red button. You can't miss it. And then when you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifier. The bell notifier, hitting those two in tandem helps the channel grow more, but it also allows the YouTube algorithm and AI to notify you every time we put up a live video. And we do stream Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. And then we also have a podcast to make it even easier for you guys to tune in. You can go to podcast, whatever podcast you're on, and check out On the Chain.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's all sorts of podcast things.
If you just search for On the Chain, Off the Chain is Pomp, On the Chain is us, because we like blockchain. We don't really like living off the chain. Our whole world is about on the chain. We want everything to go on the chain. We want voting. We want Congress. We want government officials. We want, business. We want smart contracts. We live on the chain. That's why we named it On the Chain. There you go. That's all I have, Jeff.
That's it.
Guys.
And tomorrow's Friday. I was going to say we'll be back tomorrow night, but it's not going to happen. But Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you guys are brazen enough to wake up early, that's where I'll be.
Stay with them late, because it depends part of the world you're in. But thank you guys. True. Much love. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.